I am Reed. I am 27, just an average dude. IV made tons of money mistakes in my 20s, and now I want to share everything I've learned to help you take control of your finances and your life. Oh shit, so picture this. 6 politicians, Republicans and Democrats, they can agree on literally anything, right? But they are all quietly buying the exact same stock right now, and it is not just them. The CEO of this company just dumped $3 million of his own cash into it, and even President Trump, the self-proclaimed trader-in-chief, holds over $1 million worth of this stock. And guess what? This stock, it has been cut almost in half. Wall Street thinks AI is going to destroy it, but all these insiders, the politicians, the CEO, and the president, they rebuying it as fast as they can. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this could be one of the most misunderstood opportunities, really, in the market right now. And I'll give you a simple framework to decide if it belongs in your portfolio. Now, I am not going to hold you hostage for 20 minutes to try and figure out what the stock is. It is service now if you just want to run away and not understand any of it. Good luck to you. My name is Felix. This is Winston here. He used to be an investment banker. I was an economist. And we also the founders of the GOAT Academy, where my Wall Street mentors have taught well over 20,000 people the last 6 years. And what we do here is we give regular investors like you and me and Winston here access to the knowledge that is usually only taught to the bigwigs on Wall Street. So I am going to break down for you why these politicians with top secret clearance, a billionaire, and the president of the United States are all loading up on this stock. I am not saying you should buy it. I am not a financial advisor. I am only registered as an owner of this guy, nothing else. So come to your own conclusion. But I am also going to give you a ton of data, and every piece of data I give you, well, some of it is going to go right, as data normally does. So I am going to do something better for you. I am going to give you full access to the tool that I use to get the data from, right? It is a free trial there for the week. There is a 30-day money-back guarantee. It is literally the one risk-free thing you can do today. Test it, 0 risk, and tell me what you think of it. It is called the Winston app, particularly the stock radar part in it that I got on the screen here. I am going to walk you through a little bit of that because it is going to help us understand this better. But first of all, what caught Winston's attention was the politicians. And let me walk you through them because they not just random politicians, they sitting in Congress. The number one is Byron Donalds. He is a Republican from Florida, and he sits in the Financial Services Committee, specifically the Subcommittee on Digital Assets, Financial Technology, and Artificial Intelligence. He also sits on the Oversight and Government Reform Committee. So this is the guy who literally oversees AI and fintech regulation, and he is buying a stock that is one of the biggest AI enterprise platforms in the world. Pure coincidence? Obviously, you mean he would never use insider knowledge for his own benefit. I am sure he is just doing it for the puppies. And then we've got another Republican. He is called Tony Wyatt. I probably mispronounced that. He is from Wisconsin, and he is actually the biggest buyer of the bunch. He chairs the subcommittee on contracting and infrastructure. He also sits on the Transportation Infrastructure Committee. Now, why the heck does that matter? Because he oversees how government contracts. Because he oversees government contracts with technology companies. And guess what? ServiceNow just signed a massive government deal. Maybe he knew about that. Again, he would never use that information for personal benefit. I am sure the profits from the trade, if there are any, will be donated to the local kitten sanctuary, and then we've got one of the top traders out there, a chap called Ro Khanna. He is from California, and he sits on the Armed Services Committee, specifically the Cyber Information Technology and Innovation Subcommittee. He is also on the Oversight Committee for Cybersecurity and AI. Yeah, that one. And he is also on the Select Committee on Strategic Competition with China. That is how we have to say it now. That is what the president said, so he sits on 2 subcommittees that directly oversee cybersecurity and government spending. Again, you would never use that information for his own benefit. No. He is donating it to a goat sanctuary in California. Now, Ro Khanna's investment portfolio has beaten the SP by 112% since 2024, since we got data 112% higher returns. So he has got, Nancy Pelosi, everyone knows her, right? She has done about a third of what Ro Khanna has done. For some reason, everyone's blaming the wrong one for being the greatest stock trader of all time. No, it is actually Ro Khanna, and he invested in a little stock that we covered a little while ago too, and it is called SanDisk. And since he bought it, it went up 3,000%. And now he is buying ServiceNow. So best track record in Congress, access to all insider information, which he would of course never use, right? I think I need to keep saying that. Otherwise, they might come after me. We should probably cut that part out. And then we got Chuck Fleischman, which is a glorious name, a Republican from Tennessee. I wish I could do American accents. Wouldn't that be fun if I could do an accent for every one of those? I should probably work on that. Now, he sits on the Appropriations Committee. And most people know that is where the powerful people sit because they decide where the government spends money. That is it. They hold the checkbook. So Fleischman specifically chairs the Energy and Water Development Subcommittee. He sits on the Defense Appropriations and the Science, Space, and Technology Committee. So the guy who owns the government S checkbook and he buys a stock, well, you kind of want to know why, right? We got 2 more. We're going through them quickly. Josh Gottheimer, a Democrat from New Jersey. He sits on the Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. He is a ranking member of the NSA and Cyber Subcommittee. These guys have got some influence, right? So I am going to keep saying this. They read doing this for the greater good. We just don't understand that, the mighty, they do things in peculiar ways. There is no personal interest. They re not in it for personal gain and so on. Hopefully that gets me off the NSA list. He also oversees AI, financial technology, and all that stuff. So he has top secret intelligence clearance. Right? And he is buying ServiceNow. And then numero 6 is Michael McCall, a Republican from the glorious state of Texas. He is the vice chair of the Homeland Security Committee. Again, he is doing this for the kittens and the puppies. I want to make that very clear. He also literally founded the Congressional Hot Tech Caucus. He co-chairs the Congressional Cybersecurity Caucus. The man who created Congress, S Technology Group, and its cybersecurity group is buying a cybersecurity and AI stock. So, let me connect the dots for you. ServiceNow, and if you haven't seen the stock chart for it yet, it looks pretty scary. It was trading at $230. Right now, it is trading at less than half. They just signed a massive deal with the GSA Winston. What is the GSA? The GSA is the General Services Administration. It is the agency that handles purchasing for the entire federal government. Boring, I know, but the deal gives federal agencies a 70% discount on ServiceNow, SAI platform. Now, the GSA has driven over $60 billion in contract savings using platforms like ServiceNow since last year. And these politicians sit on the committee that oversees these very contracts. And it is not just Congress. Presidente L. Trump personally holds over $1 million in ServiceNow stock, and it is his administration that signed that GSA deal. So when the president owns the stock, his administration is signing deals with the company. It is kind of another data point that is hard to ignore, but it gets even better than that. The CEO is buying it too. Bill McDermott, the CEO of ServiceNow, just put $3 million of his own personal money into the stock down here. Now, CEOs sell stock for many reasons. The mistress is more expensive. He needs a bigger yacht, that kind of thing. The Connecticut house needs an extension, all that sort of stuff. But when they buy stock, they own stock. They do it for one reason. And the way he phrases this, and I quote, he says, "It is a once-in-a-generation moment." And then he canceled his automatic stock selling plan. Those plans where CEOs schedule stock sales in advance, he canceled it and he went from scheduled selling to active buying. 4 other executives have done the exact same thing. They've also just announced they were going to buy back $5 billion of their own stock even. So CEO stops selling and starts buying with his own money. Kind of interesting, isn't it? Now, we're going to go a little bit deeper for those of you who like going a little bit deeper and really understand this, because of course there is risk with it. And I want to make sure you understand that. But let me ask you, and be honest with yourself, have you ever bought a stock sort of up here, then it went down lower, and maybe you even bought some more here and here because it looked cheap, as the discount averaging crowd keeps telling you, and you watched it fall and fall and fall? If you've done that, put the stock name in the comments. Let's make this a "we buy too late" anonymous group here, and it LL honestly help people. People will feel better if you share that with them, because then they like, okay, I am not the only Muppet out there. No, it is actually normal to do that. But how does it feel? How does it feel watching your hard-earned money disappear? Does it make you angry? Frustrated, pissed off, scream manipulation, tear your hair out, or maybe you just get sad? Well, guess what? The reason you are doing that is because no one ever taught you that Wall Street has a simple solution to that, a way this never happens to them. Now, they don't advertise the system, which I think is just incredibly unfair. And if you agree with me on that, maybe put that in the comments as well. Just write "unfair" on there. So Winston and I are going to do something special for you. This coming weekend, we're going to teach you in a free workshop how to fix bad timing once and for all. That is the tracking, how to fix bad timing on 4. Imaginative, I know, and you can get your free seat for that at fixinvesting.com. And if you are thinking, but Felix, nobody can time the market perfectly. Well, yes, you be right, but the kind of buying up here and then holding on to it down here for the pain, watching your wealth get destroyed, that is avoidable. Nobody needs to ever have a 30% down on a stock. It is literally avoidable. And I teach you the system that Wall Street's been teaching their bankers for the last 50 years. So get your free seat at fixinvesting.com. We're going to have a blast and be there on time. That is all I ask, and let us get back to the program. Okay, so what is ServiceNow really? What do they actually do? People always want to know what stocks do. They? And it is a good kind of curiosity. What does the company actually do? Okay, let me explain this in the simplest way possible. Imagine a big company like, say, a bank or a hospital or some sort of government agency, thousands of employees, hundreds of departments, millions of tasks happening every day. Somebody needs a new laptop. A customer calls with a complaint, a security alert goes off, a new employee needs to be onboarded, an invoice needs approval. All those things need to flow through a system, and someone needs to assign it, track it, make sure it gets done, and make sure nothing falls through the cracks. That is what ServiceNow does. It is the nervous system of a company. It connects everything. So sort of imagine if a company is a human body, you can see artist at work here. ServiceNow is the sort of nervous system that connects all the bits up to, where the brain is meant to be. So it is the thing that connects the brain to the muscles. Without it, you are just a vegetable. And when you call your bank and say they fix your problem instead, what is involved service. Now, it is probably running there behind the scenes. When an employee at a big tech company needs access to a new tool service, Now is probably giving the access when a hospital manages your patient data and makes sure nothing gets missed. ServiceNow is probably running in the background, so I can guarantee you that your personal data is being handled by ServiceNow. And the reason for that is that 85% of Fortune, if I could spell 500 companies, Winston perked up there, 85% of them use this product. So 85 out of hundreds of America's biggest companies use the product, and 98% of their customers renew every year, which is just unbelievable. Is it, Winston? Unbelievable. So once you start using ServiceNow, you don't T-stop. Why? Because ripping out your nervous system is really, really painful. It is sticky. It is woven into everything that they do, all the boring bits. So I was looking at the financials, to be honest with you, and I was kind of still thinking I don't too really get it, because if you go into the Winston app here and you just type now, a stock ticker, or you go about ServiceNow in there, and you see this little row here, right? There are other companies that have the word now in it. Obviously, we've given it a GOAT score of 4 Winston out of 5 Winston, which is pretty good, right? 4 Winston out of 5, a score of 75 out of 100, pretty good. But then you see these little green bars. These little green bars are the rate at which the profits are growing. And if you hover over that, maybe we can zoom in on that on the edit. You can see that their profits were growing at just 2% last quarter, which is right boring. Is T at Winston? Very boring. We don't really like that sort of thing. So it makes me wonder, well, what is about to change? Maybe these guys know something that they heard on the street, obviously not in a subcommittee because they never use that information for personal gain. No, of course not. That makes them think this slump in profit growth has just been fixed. And then I opened up our detail page for ServiceNow, and we have something in there called a growth profile. So for growth stocks that are growing a lot, we look at not just profit, but actually growth. And look at that. Growth is actually looking pretty good. 22% RD spend is rising. Now, why is that a good thing? Companies wasting more money? No, if you are innovating, if you are building something new that could make you more profitable, well, you are going to have to spend some money on research and development. So generally speaking, for growth stocks, we want them to spend more on research and development than the year before. And guess what? They regenerating cash. They have $2.7 billion cash on hand. They generated $1.5 billion in cash last quarter. It is just sort of lingering around in their bank account. And they re-putting some of that into RD, which is actually pretty good. It has got very good margins, growing pretty consistently. The revenue,